Are you really willing to lose yourself just to keep someone in your life? Because that's exactly what you're doing if you're staying in a relationship where you're constantly disrespected, manipulated, and taken for granted. The longer you tolerate it, the more you lose yourself. You might tell yourself you're holding on for love, but in reality, you're clinging to something that's slowly destroying who you are. It's time to ask yourself, when will you stop sacrificing your peace, your growth, and your self-respect? We often wonder why we stay in relationships that harm us. What makes us stay stuck in these cycles, even when we know we should walk away? Is it love or is it fear? Fear of being alone? Fear of the unknown? Fear of confronting the truth about ourselves? But here's something you need to understand. Relationships that drain you, that leave you with more pain than joy, are prisons, not sanctuaries. And it all starts with one simple truth. Your life will never improve if you keep choosing the wrong relationships. Weak, irresponsible relationships are like parasites. They don't just drain your time or energy, they take your soul. They erode your sense of self, your drive, and your will to become who you're meant to be. You've seen it before. People lose themselves in these toxic relationships. They start strong, but over time, they wither away. They stop pursuing their dreams. They stop growing. They fade into the background of someone else's life. But you can't afford to let that happen to you. You are the creator of your life, not a passive observer. You have the power to choose. Real commitment doesn't mean sacrificing your soul for someone else. True commitment means showing up for each other in ways that challenge you to grow, to become better. It's about trust, not manipulation. It's about truth, not lies. It's about responsibility, not deflection. When both people in a relationship are fully committed, you grow together, becoming stronger, more resilient, ready to face whatever life throws at you. But if that commitment is built on irresponsibility, there is no foundation. You live in constant anxiety, always wondering where you stand. You wonder if you'll ever be seen, understood, or valued. And in that space, you shrink. You shrink as a person and you shrink as a partner. But here's the truth. You don't have to live like this. You don't have to settle for a relationship that leaves you empty. You are worth more than that. If you're with someone who undermines your confidence, who can't communicate openly, or who doesn't care about your growth, it's time to walk away. There's nothing noble about sacrificing your potential for the sake of someone else's emotional baggage. Walk away. Choose yourself. Because until you do, nothing in your life will ever truly be yours. You'll never become who you're capable of becoming. How many times have you ignored the signs? How many times have you told yourself things would change, only to end up in the same toxic place, deeper in frustration and self-doubt? Let's face it, you're the one allowing it. You're the one sacrificing your future, your potential, your dignity for the fleeting comfort of a relationship that doesn't serve you. How long will you let someone else dictate your worth? It's tough to confront the truth, isn't it? The truth that weak relationships aren't the result of bad luck or misfortune, but of choices, your choices. You might say, but I love her. I've invested so much. I don't want to give up. I get it. Love feels sacred and sacrifice feels noble. But love isn't enough if the relationship is built on deceit, manipulation, and irresponsibility. The consequences of these relationships are catastrophic, not just for you, but for everyone around you. They drain your energy, cloud your judgment, and ultimately wear down your spirit. You stop trusting your own instincts. You stop standing up for yourself. You become passive, reactive, and resentful. And that resentment destroys everything, including your ability to grow. Now contrast that with a relationship built on honesty, responsibility, and growth. It's not easy. Don't mistake me for someone who glorifies the growth process. Growth is tough. It takes effort. It takes vulnerability. It forces you to face your deepest fears and faults. But when you choose honesty, you choose clarity. You choose progress over stagnation. You choose a partnership that builds you up instead of tearing you down. Imagine standing tall beside someone who challenges you, but in the right way. Someone who pushes you to be better because they believe in you, not because they want to control you. Someone who holds up a mirror showing you the truths you've been hiding from, and then walks with you as you take the steps to change. A real relationship doesn't just keep you company. It helps you evolve, grow, and become who you were always meant to be. So ask yourself, what's the cost of staying in something that's slowly suffocating your potential? What's the true price of tolerating someone who refuses to rise to the occasion? Walk away now before it's too late. Because every day you remain, you're betraying yourself. You deserve more than this. And if you won't choose yourself, who will? How much longer are you going to pretend that the pain you're feeling in this relationship is just a normal part of love? The emotional roller coaster, the endless questioning, the constant drama. How long will you accept this as your reality? How long will you stay in a situation that brings out the worst in you? Let me tell you something. It's not normal. And if you think it is, you're lying to yourself. It's easy to settle for chaos, to settle for dysfunction, because at least it's predictable. At least it's familiar. It feels safe because it's all you've known. But let me tell you the truth. Living in that chaos isn't living at all. It's just surviving. Barely. It's hard to walk away when everything around you seems like it's on the brink of falling apart. It's hard to make that decision to face the uncomfortable truth. But make no mistake, staying in this toxic environment will destroy you, piece by piece. It will warp your sense of who you are, cloud your judgment, and strip you of your worth. Every single day you stay, you are compromising your own identity. Weak relationships don't just hurt you, they erode you. They undermine you at the deepest level, robbing you of your self-respect. The longer you endure toxic behavior, the more you normalize it. And the more you normalize it, the more it starts to define your reality. It wears down your boundaries, makes you question your needs, and convinces you that you're not worthy of anything better. But let's flip the script for a moment. Let's talk about the kind of relationship that changes everything. A relationship built on honesty, commitment, and growth. These aren't just words, they're the foundation of something real. When two people are committed to growing together, their relationship becomes a platform for extraordinary change. Not just for them, but for everyone around them. Honesty is brutal. It forces you to confront the parts of yourself you'd rather leave buried. It forces you to face the things you've hidden from. But honesty is also liberating. It's the key to rebuilding. When you can be honest about who you are, and when she can do the same, you build a future together that's grounded in reality, not illusions. That's how a real connection is born. And commitment, it's not about convenience. It's about choosing to grow together, even when the path isn't easy. It's about accepting that relationships take work, but that work is worth it. There's power in that kind of commitment. So ask yourself, what do you want? To stay trapped in the cycle of self-deception, or to face the truth, however painful, and step into a future where you can finally be the person you were always meant to be? The choice is yours. You're the one who decides whether you'll keep breaking yourself down or whether you'll start building something extraordinary. What will you sacrifice for the illusion of love? Will you give up your dignity, your sense of self, your future for someone who won't even take responsibility for their actions? That's the truth you're facing right now. When you stay in a relationship full of dishonesty, manipulation, and irresponsibility, you're not just hurting the relationship, you're hurting yourself. Deep down, you know this. But here's the uncomfortable reality. You might still be clinging to this relationship because it feels easier than confronting the truth. The chaos feels normal, doesn't it? You tell yourself this is just the way things are. Love is messy, relationships are hard, so you just keep enduring. But here's the thing. Enduring is not living. It's existing. Let me be clear. You cannot afford to stay in a place that robs you of your humanity. There's a difference between hardship and needless suffering. Hardship leads to growth. Suffering without change, without transformation, leaves you broken. Every time you allow her to undermine you, every time you let toxic behavior slide, you're chipping away at your soul. It's a slow death, a gradual erosion. That's what weak, irresponsible relationships do. They drain you until there's nothing left. But there's another way, a better way. It's a way that leads to something so much greater than you can imagine. But it demands honesty, brutal honesty, both with yourself and with her. It demands courage, the courage to face what you've been avoiding, the courage to take action. It demands commitment, not to her, but to yourself. Honesty isn't about making yourself vulnerable just to be hurt. It's about facing uncomfortable truths that have the power to transform your life. It's about being strong enough to confront the mess instead of sweeping it under the rug. Because every time you ignore the truth, every time you fail to address the deep issues in your relationship, you're building a life that is both unfulfilled and miserable. So what will it be? The pain of facing truth, of cutting through the chaos to build something real, something solid, or the endless agony of existing in the shadow of a relationship that will slowly drain you dry? The choice is yours. The truth has the power to set you free, but it comes at a cost. It's going to hurt like hell, and when that moment comes, you'll have to decide whether you're ready to endure that pain. Because if you are, it will change everything. You'll either rise into the man you were always meant to be, or you'll remain chained by fear, hesitation, and weakness. The choice is yours, and it's one only you can make. How much of yourself will you sacrifice just to avoid confrontation? How long will you let your truth wither away inside you as everything around you crumbles? Here's the truth that most people won't say. Every time you suppress what you know to be real, every time you dodge the conflict standing right in front of you, you're sealing your own fate. It's not just the relationship that's at risk, it's your soul. Weakness doesn't lie in standing up for what's right. It lies in avoiding it. This isn't about blaming others for your problems. It's about realizing that you hold the responsibility to confront what's wrong before it consumes you. If she's pushing you to the point where speaking the truth feels impossible, where every conversation feels like an emotional battlefield, you need to understand something. She's not the problem. You are. If you're too afraid to speak the truth, too terrified of the discomfort that may follow a difficult conversation, you're allowing the damage to continue. But do you understand what you're giving up by staying silent? Every day you ignore the signs, every time you bite your tongue and let her trample over your boundaries, you become less of the man you could be. Complacency is a thief of your potential. Every day spent ignoring the truth is another day lost. This isn't just about this one relationship. It's about every relationship you'll ever have. It's about how you engage with the world and how you choose to live. So imagine this. What if you stopped running from confrontation? What if you faced your fears head on, told her exactly how you felt without fearing her reaction? What if you became brutally honest? There's a level of growth and strength that can only come from confronting the truth, no matter how terrifying it may be. It's hard, yes, but it's also liberating, because once you realize that the only way out of this is through it, the pain, the confrontation, the vulnerability, you begin to reclaim your life. It's not easy to look the person you love in the eyes and say the things you know will hurt. But it's far harder to live in a relationship built on half-truths, silence, and fear. The cost of that silence is your soul. Speak the truth, even if it shatters the illusion. Because once you stop lying, whether to her or to yourself, you'll no longer be bound by the toxic patterns that have held you back for so long. You will finally be free. And that freedom, it's worth everything. Ask yourself, what's your greatest fear in a relationship? Is it the fear of being alone? Or is it the fear of becoming someone you don't even recognize? Because if you stay in a relationship where there's no respect, where your boundaries are ignored, you will lose yourself. And once you've lost yourself, there's no coming back. It's easy to convince yourself that things will change, that it's just a phase, that maybe, just maybe, things will get better. But deep down, you know the truth. Every moment you stay in that toxic cycle, you're chipping away at who you are. Every compromise, every lie, every silence, it's taking a piece of you with it. The person you were before, he's fading away. And if you keep enduring this one day, you won't recognize yourself at all. The damage isn't just emotional, it's psychological. Your self-worth starts to erode. Your ability to communicate honestly and openly with others weakens. You begin doubting your own judgment, your own value. Is this the life you want? Is this the man you want to become? The other side of this is simple yet powerful. Honesty, respect, and accountability can transform your life. When you finally stand up, when you walk away from what's hurting you, you send a clear message to the world and to yourself. You say, I will not be disrespected. I am worth more than this. That decision, that's courage. That's freedom. Most people stay in relationships that destroy them, and they don't realize it until it's too late. They make excuses, they rationalize, they avoid confrontation. But deep down, they know. You know. You know when you're being manipulated. You know when you're being disrespected. You know when you're being taken for granted. And now the real question is this: why are you still here? Are you willing to sacrifice your peace, your happiness, your growth just to stay comfortable? Or are you ready to take control of your life? Understand this. Walking away is not failure. It's strength. It's the first step toward the life you were meant to live. You cannot keep pouring from an empty cup. It's time to fill your cup and make sure it never runs dry.